It's uncommon for a shelter to resist letting go of a dog, but in the case of this pup, they were reluctant. Then, upon inspecting the dog's paws, the woman observed something deeply distressing. Jessica Williams, known as Jess among her friends, eagerly anticipated the day she could finally have a home with her own dog. While studying at Brown University, she couldn't keep a pet in the dorms, so she vowed to get one after graduation. Growing up with animals, she deeply missed having a furry companion, especially after the family dogs passed away a few years prior. Love found her before graduation, altering her plans. Post-graduation, Jess and her boyfriend Jared decided to build their future together, opting to escape harsh winters by relocating to Sacramento, California, also bringing them closer to family. However, during their house hunt, they prioritized finding a pet-friendly home. Jess had emphasized from the outset of their relationship that not having a dog would be a deal breaker. This was the first time that Jessica and Jared would live together, so they decided to wait a few months before they got a pup. But that didn't mean that Jess couldn't look around at different dogs in the meantime. She wanted to plan which type of dog they would get and do some research on temperament and their needs. She was just looking, but then she came across a post that would change it all. On a shelter website, she came across the saddest dog that she had ever seen. Benji was a stray dog in Los Angeles. He was taken to a large shelter in the area. Not only did he have the saddest eyes that Jess had ever seen, but he was also really scared of humans. Plus, to round the door off, he had a really terrible flea allergy that caused him to lose most of his hair. It was probably not the type of dog that most people think of when they are looking for a new family member, but Jess couldn't get Benji out of her head. The thought of the sad pup stuck inside a small kennel without getting any love from anyone was more than she could bear. She couldn't let it go, but she did have a deal with Jared to wait a few months. But by then, an antisocial pup like Benji could have been put down. Jess did not want to risk that. She showed Jared the pictures and told him Benji's story. He wasn't sure at first, but when he saw how serious Jessica was about adopting this pup, he decided to get on board with the plan. They wanted to go and get the dog as soon as possible, but he was in Los Angeles and they were in Sacramento. It would be a 6-hour drive to get there. They could probably get loads of shelter dogs much easier, but Jess wanted Benji, and they were willing to make the drive to be able to help him. It was a major drive, but by the time they finally made it to the shelter, they couldn't wait to meet the dog. They went inside and told the staff member who was helping out why they were there. He looked slightly shocked and told them that he would have to get the manager to speak to them. He came out and told them that they didn't want Benji. They were shocked. Jess explained that they really did and that they had come all this way for that very reason, but the manager just told them that he could show them other dogs, but that Benji was too aggressive and even snapped at people going by. But Jess refused. She had come all that way not to see other shelter dogs, but to take Benji home. They did not care what the shelter personnel thought. They had driven almost 400 miles, 643 kilometers, for Benji and not another dog. If the shelter thought that Benji was aggressive, then he would likely be put down. He was already at the shelter for 10 days, and they wouldn't keep him much longer. Jess was not going to allow that to happen. Jess wasn't going to be just another person who would give up on the sad doggy. The shelter didn't want to give them the opportunity to visit with him in the waiting area where they normally let families bond. They said that he wasn't going to be the cuddly dog that would come over to them anyway. It was a pointless experience, or at least that is what the shelter personnel believed. But Jess was having none of that. She wanted Benji, and eventually, they realized that she was determined. So they allowed the couple to adopt the dog. Benji was terrified when the couple took him out of the kennel and to their car. In his mind, there were just 2 more people that he did not know who were taking him somewhere strange. You know those heartwarming videos where a rescue dog becomes insanely happy the moment he is in the car riding to his new home? This was not one of those car rides. Benji had never gone that far away, and he was quivering in the corner all right. Home, Jess's heart broke when she looked over at the scared dog in the corner of the back seat. They had brought him a toy to keep him company on the ride, but he didn't even look at the toy. He just sat down with his head bent. This was not an aggressive dog as the shelter had said. Instead, he was scared and unsure. It's time they stopped to give him a potty break. He would be shaking by the time they picked him up and put him back in the car. Each time Jared bent down to pick him up, Benji would duck and try to get away from him. It looked like he was watching them every second. By the time they finally made it home, all three of them were exhausted. Jess and Jared because they didn't want to freak Benji out even more, and Benji because he was on the edge constantly. At home, they decided that they would just give him some space. They left the door open for him so that he could come inside and go outside as he wished. They put a cozy dog bed close to their couch where they watched television, and they gave him a lot of toys to play with. Still, he remained weary of the two of them. He would soon sneak out and come back inside, until one day they realized he was laying down close to them. As soon as they moved, he ran and hid away. But it was progressing, and they were willing to give him all the time in the world to get used to them, and more importantly, to learn to start trusting them. One day, Jess was taking a nap on the couch when she felt a warm body sliding next to her. She was half asleep and just registered the weight, but then she woke up a little bit more and knew that this little body was too small to be Jared. She peeked out from behind the arm that was over her face and was shocked. It was Benji that was lying next to her. She got a few tears in her eyes but dared not move for fear of scaring him away. But that was the turning point. From that moment onward, Benji gradually loosened up around them. He would sit close, then began to cuddle, and eventually, he even initiated playtime. Allowing them to groom him facilitated the regrowth of his hair. Benji also opened up to their affection, transforming into the joyful and occasionally silly dog Jess had envisioned. They were evolving into a family. One day, while playing with Benji in the yard, Jess noticed him walking oddly. Concerned, she called him over and carefully examined his paw, removing a small rock lodged there. However, upon closer inspection of his paw, she was devastated by what she discovered. The condition of the pads revealed past injuries, indicating repeated mistreatment. This revelation shed light on Benji's initial sadness and fearfulness. Yet now he was a completely transformed dog. Subsequent photos captured Benji's happiness and playfulness, showcasing the remarkable change in his demeanor. They had rescued him from a dire situation, and the unwavering love he showered upon them made every challenge worthwhile. What do you think of Benji and his family? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this story. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.